Lewis Hamilton's transition to Ferrari in the 2025 Formula One season has been one of the most highly anticipated moves in recent memory. Fans hoped this would mark the beginning of a new era, a chance for Hamilton to bring his experience, determination, and talent to a team that's been hungry for championship glory. But things haven't gone as smoothly as many expected. The story isn't just about a driver adapting to a new car or a new team. According to data insights and recent observations made by Brundle, there's a deeper issue at play. One, that lies within Hamilton himself. The very style that helped him dominate for so many years at Mercedes might now be the thing holding him back at Ferrari. Brundle's detailed analysis of Hamilton's driving style revealed a fascinating contrast between instinct and machinery. Hamilton is not only adjusting to the SF25, he's battling decades of muscle memory, habits formed over 2 decades of racing, many of which were shaped in the high-performance environment of Mercedes. What Brundle found when reviewing the telemetry is that Hamilton tends to brake harder and more aggressively than Charles Leclerc, who has been with Ferrari long enough to adapt to their car's unique traits. This aggressive braking technique, which worked well with the Mercedes cars that Hamilton drove to 7 world titles, seems to be unsettling the Ferrari at almost every fast-flowing corner. It's not just about how hard Hamilton presses the brake pedal. The SF25, like many of the current generation ground effect cars, is incredibly sensitive to aerodynamic balance. When the airflow over the car is disrupted, as it is when a driver brakes suddenly or forcefully, the car's stability suffers. In fast corners, this becomes a critical issue. Instead of flowing smoothly through bends and maintaining momentum, the SF25 becomes twitchy and unpredictable under Hamilton's inputs. That lack of flow is costing lap time, but perhaps even more importantly, it's disrupting Hamilton's rhythm. Rhythm is something that's often overlooked when analyzing performance in Formula One, but it plays a huge role. When a driver feels at one with the car, they're able to push consistently lap after lap without second-guessing how the car will behave. But when there's even a slight disconnect, a difference in how the car responds compared to what the driver expects, that rhythm breaks. For someone like Hamilton, who built his dominance on consistency and confidence, this loss of flow is more than a technical problem. It's an emotional and psychological one too. To understand why Hamilton is struggling, we need to look back at how his driving style was formed. During his time at Mercedes, the cars were built around him. The easier team understood his strengths, and the cars they produced played to those strengths. He was able to brake late, carry high speeds through corners, and lean on the car's balance and rear grip in ways that matched his instincts. That harmony between driver and machine was one of the keys to his success. But Ferrari's SF25 has a different philosophy. It requires smoother inputs, gentler handling, and a more measured approach, characteristics that don't naturally align with Hamilton's aggressive style. Charles Leclerc, who has been Ferrari's lead driver for years now, has naturally adapted to this style. His approach is smoother, more deliberate. He eases into corners, maintains aerodynamic stability, and lets the car do the work. It's a style that suits the SF25 perfectly, and it's why Leclerc often appears more comfortable behind the wheel. Brundle even described him as Mr. Measured, and that nickname fits. He moves with the car rather than trying to control it forcefully. That's the kind of driving these modern F1 cars demand, and it's something that Hamilton is now trying to learn. But here's where the story becomes truly interesting. Brundle isn't saying that Hamilton can't change. In fact, he's saying the opposite. If there's anyone in the paddock with the determination, the focus, and the resilience to reinvent himself, it's Lewis Hamilton. This challenge isn't just about adapting to a car. It's about reprogramming instincts that have served him well for most of his racing life. It's about tearing down a driving style that's won countless races and rebuilding it from the ground up to suit a completely different machine. That kind of transformation is not easy, and it doesn't happen overnight. It's not just about watching telemetry and tweaking a few things here and there. It's about retraining the body and the brain to respond differently in every corner. It's a process that demands time, patience, and a willingness to unlearn what once felt natural. But Hamilton isn't backing down from this task. In fact, he's already making sacrifices off the track to focus entirely on this transition. Reports have emerged that Hamilton is now spending significantly more time in Maranello, Ferrari's headquarters. He's skipping social events, staying late in the simulator, studying data, and watching onboard footage. He's going back to the fundamentals, breaking down each part of his driving, and trying to understand where the disconnect is happening. This isn't just about fixing a flaw, it's about reshaping himself as a driver, and that level of commitment says a lot about who Hamilton is and how seriously he's taking this challenge. It also speaks to the level of difficulty involved. This isn't just a bad start to a season, it's a major crossroads in Hamilton's career. He's no longer just competing against other drivers, he's competing against time, against instinct, and against the expectations that come with being a 7-time world champion. The pressure is immense, but if anyone can rise to the occasion, it's him. Interestingly, Brundle pointed out that this isn't a brand new issue. The seeds of this struggle were visible even in Hamilton's final year at Mercedes. George Russell outqualified him 19 times to 5 in the 2024 season, and the way Russell did it is telling. Russell's inputs were smoother, his braking softer, and his style more in tune with the ground effect cars of this new era. It wasn't just about youth or reaction time, it was about technique, and that same technique is now giving Leclerc an edge at Ferrari. But let's not forget the bigger picture. This situation also highlights the emotional complexity of Formula One. When a driver doesn't feel connected to the car, it's not just about lost lap time, it affects confidence, motivation, and the ability to push at the limit. Hamilton has spoken in recent interviews about feeling like he's not clicking with the SF25, and it's clear that this disconnect runs deep. Yet he remains focused, determined to find a way to make it work. Another interesting angle in this story is Carlos Sainz, the driver Hamilton replaced at Ferrari. Sainz has now joined Williams, and surprisingly, he's thriving. Despite moving to a completely different car with a new driving philosophy, Sainz has quickly adapted and found performance. That suggests that change is possible. With the right mindset, a top driver can align with a new setup and make it work. Hamilton is fully aware of this, and it likely fuels his motivation even further. If Hamilton can successfully make this transition, it will be one of the most impressive feats of his career, not because of the number of races won or podiums achieved, but because of the inner transformation it would represent. Reinventing oneself at this stage, after so much success, is incredibly rare. It takes humility, focus, and a relentless work ethic. It would serve as a blueprint for how elite athletes evolve with their sport, rather than resist change. This story is about more than just lap times or championship points. It's about growth, resilience, and the drive to stay relevant in an ever-changing world. It's about how even the greatest can struggle, and how they respond to that struggle defines their legacy. There's a lesson in this for fans too. Sometimes we look at drivers like Hamilton and assume they should perform at their best no matter what. We forget that they're human, that their success is built on finely tuned routines and deeply ingrained habits. When those routines are disrupted, even the best need time to adjust. Hamilton isn't just learning a new car. He's learning a new way of being behind the wheel, and that brings us back to Brundle's final point. He's not